Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and our guest today is my good friend Horace Feliu, who's running for mayor for the city of South Miami. Now, Mr. Mayor, because you're a former mayor, all right, why in 2022 do you want to become mayor?
Well, you know what? It started out like this. There's a lot of people from the last couple of elections that they went to another direction of the city, and now they realize that the way we were heading with the businesses, we had a vibrant city, businesses in South Miami. We had good zoning codes here, and we need someone with experience. So they talked me into it, especially those that didn't vote for me in the past. These are the ones that actually reached out to me. I appreciate those that always voted for me and supported me, but now I'm getting people that didn't vote for me before.
Well, certainly in the last 10 years, we look around the city, and there's lots of things that make South Miami unique now. That include the traffic calming circles. And I think there's another term for that.
I started those back in 2000.
Yes. And over at Fuchs Park, there's a beautiful sign that's out front. Commissioner Josh Liebman now with the rest of the commission put together more than a dozen large outside sculptures over Donnie Fussell Park. It was just anointed, if you will, Colombian Art Park, I think, for part of I think that was the name of it. It looks beautiful. But let's talk about the city parking garage, which for many years has been underutilized. I think you're the mayor or on the commission.
I was the mayor that actually led the charge to build it, and we did that, finalized it. And these are the things that I'm talking about, infrastructure things. Like, for example, the Gibson Bethel building, the community center, that was done under my watch. Sunset Drive improvements, again, something that I initiated. We did it. I got criticized because there was a lot of street construction for a little while, but the end result is beautiful because it brought more improvements to including 62nd Avenue where you're located. We did that too.
So the homeowners, the residents, people that vote, they want their neighborhoods protected.
Exactly.
So if you become mayor, what are you going to do to help protect the neighborhoods?
Well, you know, you may recall that, again, when I was mayor, we lowered the speeding from 30 to 20 miles per hour. And now we need enforcement. Okay, we need to make sure that we enforce those that intrude our neighborhoods at rapid speeds. They need to be ticketed. And that's what we need to do, to encourage people to obey the laws.
So somebody recommended me, in order to slow down the traffic, is just go ahead and put peacocks in every neighborhood, right? That will certainly slow us down. And Mr. Ward behind me is probably laughing over here. Right?
Yeah. The peacocks have seemed to taken over certain neighborhoods, and there's ways to control them humanely where you don't have to kill them. Even though some people have said, well, listen, during Thanksgiving they should be allowed to be as part of the dinner table, so you can shoot them. And I'm not in favor of that, Michael. I'm not in favor of that, even though some places do eat peacocks.
Right. So the question I have is, how do these peacocks year after year have the arrogance to stop traffic in all directions as they walk across the street, and we just slow down to 2 miles an hour? It's very effective.
Well, they are good traffic calming devices, but you got to have them everywhere. So maybe instead of having them in one area concentrated, maybe we could spread them out and they'd be all over the place.
So lots of times people move into cities such as South Miami because they enjoy the police department and the enforcement of the rules, and to be close to the police. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm in favor of having a substation or new station over here by our post office. There's a city-owned property there. There used to be the vehicle station, inspection station, and from what I understand, there was building momentum to build it. So that would be a good place to also have a brand new police station that is centrally located. Or maybe allow exit into US 1 from the existing police station.
Certainly, it's the responsibility of government to help create new neighborhoods. And by moving that police station over there, it will not just create a new neighborhood, it will enhance it, right? People will not be afraid to park their cars there and to be able to be there. And there's a school that's nearby, right? Murray Park and the swimming pool is relatively close to that. So if that happens, it'll be a great day. Now, we know that the county has already started working on tearing on the 6.6 acres, formerly known as South Miami townhouses.
Correct.
Putting up, is it $300 million plus project that the county hired Related Group to do that. That's certainly going to improve the neighborhood.
There's going to be a lot more people and more concentration, more traffic. So yeah, we definitely need more police presence to make sure that, like you said, laws are obeyed and people feel safe.
Over in a project off of 64th Street, and it was called Madison Square. It would probably been in the works, I don't know, for 15 years, 15 years, 20
Probably
years,
more.
Mr. Ward? Madison Square, that was probably in the works for 15 or 20 years, right? 20,
Yeah, more
20
like
years.
20, yeah.
And no matter who was on the commission, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what they looked like, male,
Right,
female, white, black, Hispanic. It just took a long time for that to happen. So it's finally occurred. One side of the street is complete, which is a dollar store downstairs and apartments upstairs. Across the street, what's going across the street?
Well, more affordable housing,
Mhm.
workforce housing, which was the intent of the CRA to begin with. When I was on the commission, we purchased a property from Mr. Perry. You may remember
Yeah,
him.
sure.
He had these dilapidated, very old apartments in that very corner, and we were able to purchase that from him and his family. And the rest that's the first step. You have to buy the property.
It truly is amazing that after all these years that is the 58th, 59th place, 58th, 59th?
It's Church Street. So
Church
yeah,
Street?
it's 59th.
59th.
Yeah.
How that's gotten better. There's
Yeah.
a church that was redone over there. It was an apartment building that was beautified. All right. And that's exactly where Related is putting up these brand new buildings.
Right.
And the big issue really is it will be several thousand people. There's 600 units.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's 1,000 people, maybe 1,500, maybe 2,000 people
Yeah.
that are going to be in that neighborhood. Really good reason to also move the police over there to provide a sense of,
Right.
of calmness and a protection.
Right. Also, all the people that are going to move into South Miami, they're going to be more prone to shop, and shop in hopefully our downtown, which is in sore need of improvement in terms of reviving it. We had the Red Sunset Merchants when I was mayor, if you may recall, and that helped with bringing in more marketing and also the city at that time, we helped the merchants by providing more marketing.
And let's talk about the Shops of Sunset, which has gone through a couple of evolutions. Most recently, a big real estate firm purchased it, and then they got the zoning change. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, they sold it to a new developer. All right. So he's been sitting on it now for about 2 years. What do you suppose is going to happen over there?
I'm not sure. I mean, I believe that when you invest that kind of money, that I believe you spent like $65 million for the project,
Yes.
right? Was it?
Yes.
Was it around? And the other folks, they actually lost a bunch of money. I don't know, maybe another 60,000 or 60 million. Sorry, but they had, that's a big investment. So I can't imagine someone sitting on that investment and not doing anything. Maybe they're waiting for some help or some zoning changes. I'm not sure what they're waiting for.
Well, we certainly know that timing was everything. The reason it was sold because there was nobody was going to shopping malls. Now the new guys bought it, and from what I've been told, it was a significant investment, but certainly worth a lot more. So if you get on the commission, that item's probably going to come up again. Now, the old commission passed a 5-0 to the current zoning, and it's on there. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
That current zoning that at that time may have expired. So I think the ideal situation would be to build housing or condos that would actually people would pay taxes on, and it would be more of an asset. The bottom line is that whatever it is, we don't want something to fail again. As you recall, we had the bakery center that was built that failed. Then the Shops at Sunset, as you could see, like you said, the malls are no longer being populated or visited by a lot of people due to the Amazon and of the worlds and all the ways to purchase. But we need probably housing, which is be the key to perhaps build there. People would be more vested into our community.
So one of the things we recognize, and this is a challenge across the globe, we need more housing, but we don't want more cars.
That's a dilemma.
And then the stores around the housing want to be there so they can sell them stuff. All right. So we know on 73rd Street, one block off Sunset Drive, the Winn-Dixie property is there. All right. And that's been going back and forth for a couple of years. when my new phone, all right, look, and second time it's wrong. Dick Tracy, you can talk to it.
Does it measure your heart rate
It
and all that?
measures everything, Horace. Said it's not enough. It even talks to you, right? So, on the Winn-Dixie property, I know there have been several conversations. The biggest issue that the neighbors have is, what about the traffic? What about the lights? Where are the people going to park? And how are we going to get to our homes? So how do you balance that between the rights of the property owner and the rights of the neighbors?
It's not easy, but like in Coral Gables, you study their downtown the way it is, and they abut certain parts of residential housing. They do have one-way streets where traffic flows one way and then another way, so that not everything is not all traffic flows into the neighborhoods. And I think if we design something like that, a method in which there are one-way streets whereby the surrounding neighborhood is not affected, I think that'll be crucial in allowing a balance. Now, higher density doesn't mean a bigger success in terms of volume, in terms of purchasing power, and within our downtown area. But what we need is quality. We need, and I don't understand why they would want anyone to build something that's 32 stories, for example, Kendall, if you can build something with less density and maybe people will pay more.
So the big issue that we continue to hear, and we hear it on the county level, each of the cities, is the county is pushing for more intensity for homes, for dwellings, but there's not enough space for cars. Right?
You're absolutely right. But here's what I'm seeing with this rapid transit zone that the county has been proposing by a commissioner that, by the way, doesn't even live near a rapid transit area. So I'm wondering where that all idea comes from. There's nothing rapid transit about US 1 and the Metro Rail. You know that the majority of the people that live along the Metro Rail or along the US 1 corridor, they don't use the Metro Rail. It's very limited. Buses, you go to any bus stop and you know that you're not going to get the bus on time because it never shows up on time. And then on top of that, you have the bus stations, and most of them don't have a roof or anything. So if you're in the rain, if you're in the sun, are you going to be more prone to use the bus stations?
So you wake up in the morning, you take a shower, then you walk 4 blocks or 6 blocks.
And you're sweating, you're in the rain.
How does that work?
Well, exactly. So this is why in South Florida, it's not going to happen. The things with the traffic and the rapid transit, that's going to happen. People love their cars. When you come home from work, don't you sometimes stop at a supermarket or you stop at the dry cleaners to pick up clothes? That's what people want.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about parking on Sunset Drive and 73rd Street. I understand the commission is either just raised or is about to raise the parking rate per hour.
They did. They raised. I paid like $3.58 last time for 1 hour, and I went over a minute, and I got a ticket. It was
$38.
Yeah. It should go down. Yes, the ticket is expensive. It used to be $18.
So from what I understand, also the city is going to be changing the length of time that you can park in busy areas to a maximum of 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
That's what I had heard. Right. I'm waiting for verification.
That's not pro-business.
Right. And so we know that in Coral Gables, they have some of that. But for instance, on 73rd Street, where there's Deli Lane and the Winn-Dixie and Casa Cuba and those other businesses that are in the parking garage, 15 minutes, that's good for dropping off Johnny. All right. But if you're going to go into the neighborhood restaurant, what are you going to do? So if you have to park in the city parking garage, all right, versus pulling up to an empty meter, that's going to be tough, all right, to do. And I guess we could all get used to it, but it certainly makes it another reason not to shop there.
That's the whole mentality that we need to correct. And hopefully when I'm mayor again, when I get back in there, we're going to have, once again, business-friendly attitude towards our businesses, because we need to make it easier for businesses to come in, stop all the loopholes and all the obstacles, and allow them to do business.
So Horace,
and parking is one of those.
You had mentioned that the city is seriously considering, and I know they put together some sort of unofficial drawings, if you will, for the police station to move right behind the old inspection station. If that's the case, what would happen to the the part of the city hall property, which is currently the police station. What would happen with that should the police station move?
I would be in favor of renovating it, make sure it's restructured in a way that it allows other employees to move in. For example, the Silva Martin building, that's where our planning department is. That has to, they can now have space in the new police or the old police station once that's renovated. And so there's ways to make it useful.
So a couple of years ago, there was a conversation. Actually, that's how the police station move came up about the city selling the police station. I mean, it was selling City Hall, and then some developer would put property on it. So now that's been about 4 or 5 years since that's been proposed. The buyer went away, I think, because the city cut them off.
Well, not only that, but shortly after the buyer went bankrupt, they filed for bankruptcy. So it would have been a lousy proposition for the city. I opposed it, the selling of our city hall property. It was going to be sold for pennies on the dollar. And the whole bidding process was a scam. So thank God and this commission, I'm happy to say, beginning with Mayor Sally Phillips, they voted it down to go ahead with that deal because it would have been a bad deal for the city.
So if it comes back, which it probably will, my guess is, what would be your immediate response to a proposal to sell the city hall property to a third party?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm in favor of putting for the ballot, okay, a ballot question that any property, because this is all owned by the citizens of South Miami, that if the public wants it, the citizens of South Miami wants it sold, they should be able to vote for it. Okay. And not a straw ballot. I'm talking about a real vote of the people of South Miami of any property worth over $1 million that the city owns.
And this election's coming up in November. This is the first, maybe second time ever there's been an election in November, but this is a new voting date. It's every other year in November. Do you have a prediction yet? What percentage of people are going to come out and vote?
I think there's going to be a high percentage, maybe probably as high as 40%. And the past has been in the low 20s, 15%.
The old dates used to be in February.
In February. Now that there's the governor's race, DeSantis, and I would imagine Charlie Crist would be on that ballot as well. With Marco Rubio, the senator, there's going to be another person from the Democratic Party that's going to oppose him. Our Congress lady, Maria Salazar, she's going to be on the ballot as well. So there's going to be a lot more people, Republicans, non-party affiliates, Democrats are all going to come out and vote. So I would imagine that, and it's a good thing. I'm in favor. That's one of the reasons that I decided to run this time, because again, we're going to have more people.
So we know for over many, many years, Southwest 64th Court had more elected officials on it than all the other streets together. And so this may be this aberration that's going to occur because of November election time, and we're all looking forward to see who's running. Right now, there are about 3 people that have signed up, 3 or 4 people. Do you know when the cutoff is?
It's in August.
Right.
I think it's the middle of August.
Right. So right now, current mayor Sally Phillips has announced recently she was not running. There's somebody else, Javier Fernandez is running. Right. You're running. Anybody else running for mayor?
Not that I know of, but there's still plenty of time.
Yes, yeah, there sure is. And people can call you 305-299-7968.
Right.
I got that right?
Exactly. And I actually put my personal phone on this little handout that's going to be it's going to turn into a door hanger. So if you see this in your door, it was me. Okay, because I'm going to be hanging them in people's doors and not knocking necessarily unless you're there, All
right. So you're going to have a little get together coming up pretty soon. When is that and where?
Monday, this coming Monday, the 27th at 6:00 at Deli Lane. You're all invited. Those of you that live in and around South Miami, I welcome all of you to show up.
And they do not have to bring a check.
They don't have to bring a check.
We just want to know, do we get like hot dogs or hamburgers?
No, or beer and wine. I think that'll attract some people. For you, a hot dog or a hamburger.
All right. So, Horace, how many years have you been in office?
I was
Elected office, and
elected
we'll go
office
before that.
12 years between being the commissioner, vice mayor, and mayor. For 6 years.
And prior to that, you served on a couple of boards.
I served on the Environmental Preservation Board, which is a great board. I thought it'd be a good idea to create the Green Task Force when I was mayor, and to help with our environment, to help come up with ways to lower the cost of energy. And from that, a lot of things came forward to help the citizens of South Miami actually save money on energy and help our environment at the same time. So I'm very proud of that board that we formed.
So one of the things we've seen through the pandemic is there are a lot of families that are emotionally hurting a lot, right? And because of the fear and of a lot of things, and people I know are dying, and some of the areas put together a common place where people can call or go. The county, you can dial 211 or 311, and you can ask for direction and say, I need this help, whether it's social services or just some direction. I don't know if the city of South Miami has that, but to have a general phone number that somebody could call, hey, I need some help, where can I go to get that? We know that if we dial the police, that's the starting point for that type of stuff.
Right.
But things that are not an emergency, all right, perhaps the city wants to look at how they can make available the social services that are offered throughout the county.
Right.
And people don't know where to go, but they might be able to start with their local municipality.
That's a good idea.
Right.
I'd be willing to look into that and see what we can offer. You obviously need a professional person that knows about these issues, the mental health issues, and resources, where to find the resources.
And so right now, the police department seems pretty stable, right? And in years past, depending on who's there were a lot of grief a few years ago, not for South Miami, but overall, right? But that phase seems to have passed when people said they wanted to not give as much money to the police department. I'm all for give them more money. All right.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I'm not in favor of this defunding the police that we heard about. That's not the way to go. If anything, police training, making sure that we attract the finest and the best police officers, those with the right temperament, and those that know how to handle situations where you don't just shoot somebody, and that's the kind of people we don't want in any police department. What we need is more training, and again, perhaps more money to be competitive to keep the good police officers that we have, and attract even better ones. Because right now, when I was mayor, we had approximately 5 officers per 1,000 residents. Now I think we're down to 3. So we had at one point, we had 12,000 residents. We had 60 police officers. So I think we can use some more.
Well, I can tell you that one of the things I love about South Miami, if I call the police, I've had them here in 45 seconds.
Yeah, no.
It's
you live down the street, and they don't want you to write anything bad about them. So
maybe you think that's it? Probably more. It's right down the street, or they just happen to be driving by.
Yeah.
All right. So we have coming up. Back to school is going to start in 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. We have the former vice principal of South Miami Junior High,
Dick
Mr.
Ward.
Ward,
Yeah,
sitting over
we
here.
named the street after him, and rightly so. He did a great job. I ran into, actually at the last commission meeting, there was a police officer there, right, Dick? And Dick had actually paddled him when he was a student in the South Miami Junior High there. So he remembered that, but he remembered it fondly, which was amazing. He said that really straightened him out. I mean, from then on, he behaved. So
did it work for you too?
It worked for me several times.
All right. Anyway, so folks, Horace Feliu wants to be your mayor one more time. All right. You can reach him 305-299-7968. And he lives right down the street, right near South Miami Middle School. All right.
Right. And South Miami is my home. It's your home. It's our home.
Wow. All right. Again, thanks for joining
Thank
us live with Miami's Community News. Call Horace if you want to find out more information about his candidacy. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, folks.
Thank you.